All right, Your Excellency. So tensions between you and Governor Fubara, has been escalating, and
the what
has been escalating.
The what? I mean, the what and what?
The tensions.
Which tension?
That's what we see, and so it appears.
Or what you think?
So you're going to give us your views on that, and so we're wondering, why does this conflict appear very difficult to resolve?
I'm very surprised. What is difficult to resolve? Mr. President, the sovereign of our nation, in his own wisdom, in his own fatherly way, say, look, you come, you sit down. This is the problem. I want this problem to be resolved. You go, withdraw the impeachment notice. You go, do this. You go, do this. You go, do this. You, elder, read it for everybody here. Elder, read it. Do we all agree with it? Yes. Elder, what about you? Yes. We agreed. Fine. The parties went home. The assembly withdrew the impeachment notice. You now do this. You did one, you did two. Then you send people to go to court to hang the other one to say, oh, people went to court. Elder, have you gone back to Mr. President? This assignment you gave, we have done one, we have done two. We're not able to do 3 and 4. Please, Mr. President, can you call us back? See whether we can find a solution to 3 and 4. Since 1 and 2 have been executed. Nothing. The next thing you see, oh, somebody did this, somebody did that. Mr. President, in his wisdom, Mr. President, sometimes when people play politics, you play politics, President says, you come. You were hearing when they were saying, President, they were political, were not constitutional. I have never seen that happen in my life. A president of a country will call people, sit them down, do this. One party goes, it's political, it's not binding, it's not constitutional. Come on, who does that? Who does that? Who does that? And then you people are talking about conflict, tension, this and that. You went and you seized assembly people money, their salaries, everything, took it. And you are running with 3-member assembly in Nigeria. All of you, journalists, appearing in your television houses, appearing, justifying.
Including the court.
No, listen, never. I have always told people, it's not Wike, it's not about Wike or who. It's not about me. But how you will tell me in a democracy, it's only in Nigeria. Okay, take it for example. You say those 27 people defected. Assuming, don't know conceding. You sit down, tell me, one person is a speaker, 2 are members, are the ones doing law for a state. And everybody sit down discussing, hey, but they defected. It is, I said, look, it's not my business. It's Nigerian democracy. Tomorrow it will be one person. Tomorrow it will be one. So the issue of tension, it does not exist. The tension being created by you people who have refused because of their interest, because of their commitment. Take for example, I say without no apologies to anybody. When I see what happens, how media will be screaming in the bar cherishing images of judges, that judges collected bribe. Squaring, even somebody gives you that news item. Assuming somebody pays you for that, can you do that in a civilized country? In a civilized country. But it is what is being discussed. You malign, you damage. I'm happy. The day the court gives them judgment, democracy, rule of law. The day the court does not give them judgment, the judges took bribe. Arise will be, it will be the first morning they will discuss it. And that is where we are in this country. That's where we are. Because do you think it's wicked? Oh, I don't like wicked. It's not about wicked. It's about the country we are talking about.
Yes. Your Excellency, just to take off from there.
Yes.
It seems that your interest politically are a little bit interesting, really, now, because even your party has 2 people claiming to be national secretary.
Yes.
At the state level, we have 2 schools carrying the banner of schools as well.
Yes.
Are you now taking this, as you have said, it's the don't look approach?
It's the same people. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. When I tell people, tomorrow they blame the judiciary. Tomorrow PDP will blame the judiciary. You cannot keep your house in order. Tomorrow you go and find some media houses to say this. See how the courts are interfering. What is the problem? What is the problem? It's unfortunate they have a man, they say is a former Senate President, Wabara. So unfortunate, so unfortunate. If that man was my father, I would disown him. If it was my father, or he was related, I would have disowned him. He doesn't qualify to be. No wonder Mr. President Obasanjo made a presidential broadcast. It was under his tenure. Obasanjo made a broadcast about corruption. Presidential broadcast. That's the man leading PDP Board of Trustees. This is a man who led people, came to this is my residence. Beauty. How they want to reconcile matters. They went back to a state high court without suing INEC. INEC is a necessary party. INEC was one who observed the election. The National Convention. You went to a state high court and sued that the National Secretary ought to have resigned. What is the provision of the constitution of the party? What did the constitution say? Assuming they're not conceding that is supposed to resign, he has to be replaced by election, not by appointment. Assuming they're not conceding, he was elected, he was not appointed, he was elected in convention. And then you say, oh, he's no longer there. That the Southeast should bring another person. Even if Southeast will bring, will it not be by election to replace him? Will you go and bring someone and say, we have brought this person in your house, come and replace him? But that's not the point. They want an appeal. Appeal gave judgment 2-1. They filed for a stay of execution. Some governors, in their own wisdom, manipulated. No, they should not. That since, yes, a stay of execution has been filed, but it has not been granted, so let him go. Let another person be. The same people, the zonal vice chairman of Southeast was removed by court. Ali Odefa, the zonal vice chairman from the Southeast, was removed from court. There have not been any appeal. None have been any sort of execution. They did not even say, okay, let's implement that. That that one should not be implemented. The one that should be implemented is one national secretary. Unfortunately, there was an interim order of staying down. But apart from that, there was a judgment of the Federal High Court, which INEC was a party to, saying that this is the national secretary of the party. This boy, whom they now want him to be national secretary, applied to be joined in that suit. The court dismissed his application. He did not appeal against it. PDP did not appeal against that judgment up to today. You know, when you shoot yourself, these are they dig their grave, and they will enter in that grave. They say, oh, the court is doing this. You are the one digging your grave. The convention is coming this December. As right-thinking people who want their party to survive, we do not say, gentlemen, what are we really doing? The convention is December. What are we talking about? Why can't we keep our house and do this convention by December and usher in a new executive? What do they want to do? Oh no, that's when they remove Wike. None of them has what it takes. They don't have what it takes at all, not one. Be it the board of trustees, be it whatever governor you think you are. I am prepared for it. It's not a new thing. It's not a new thing for me. This is my territory. I've never survived without anything. How can you see people do things? You say you love your party, and instead of you to do the right thing for your party to survive, rather you're causing more crisis in your party. Convention is December. You want to remove the national chairman. The court has given a pronouncement. Court said no. You cannot. It will be by convention that you can remove or bring any chairman. He said no. That it is zoned from it is coming from North Central. We never zoned to North Central. The zoning was North and South. But assuming they're not conceding, they're North Central. You cannot bring an appointed chairman to oversee NWC that's elected. You cannot do that. You know, they say that all their problem is, oh, Wike. Look, anybody who knows me know. I have never, when I said I was not going to support their presidential candidate, I never hid it. I said I was not going to support, and I will not support. Up to today, I stand by it.
Your Excellency, let's take you back to Rivers State. Because when you were answering the question with regards to Rivers State, you sort of spoke in parables that not many people would understand.
Yes.
Now, in Rivers State, the state's exco, the state party exco, the one that many people believe is loyal to you, has been sacked by the court.
By which court?
By the court. Now, many people believe that the argument here, Your Excellency, is that you are slowly, not my words now, but the general notion, slowly losing political grip with regards to the PDP in your state.
That is the television you watch. It's not what we're talking about on ground. Let me tell you. You know, I've always said I don't want to talk about judiciary. But it's unfortunate you have tried to push me now to talk about state judiciary.
Carry on, Your Excellency.
The Federal High Court gave a nod for the election to take place, which INEC was a party. And directed police, they shall allow the Congress, and they took place. Now let me tell you, it's unfortunate I will say this. Who is this judge that's granting these orders? State High Court judge every day. Who is this judge? You know, I feel so bad. This was a judge, I refused that when NJS recommended I will not be sworn in. Why? When the State High Court was locked up by my predecessor, this judge was the Deputy Chief Registrar of the Customary Court of Appeal, Stephen Jumbo. You remember that NJS recommended Justice Desi Okocha to be the Chief Judge of Rivers State. My predecessor refused and appointed the President of Customary Court of Appeal, Justice Agumabo, to be the Chief Judge and NJC sanctioned him, suspended. How can you do that? Now, during that period, they used this deputy chief registrar, who is now the judge, Stephen Jumbo, siphoned the funds of the judiciary when the judiciary was locked up under lock and key. I came as governor. Justice Dezo Okocha became the chief judge, and we saw how monies were being shared. They divided the judges. These judges are loyal. These judges are not loyal. They were paying allowances to these judges, and they are not paying to these judges. And as they said, no, I will not allow this. I'm going to write to NJS, who cannot allow this. Justice Dezo Okocha pleaded, please, 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 allow, please, just let it. You know, sometimes you feel so bad. Pleaded. Say, please, please, please. I don't want this mess. When I see people talk, I just look at it. Now, when Dezo Okocha left, just Lomicron became. And I said, my Lord, can we allow this? He said, Your Excellency, I know it's wrong, but you see, let everybody. JSC indicted this judge, Justice Jumbo, of, look at the funds of the court. When the court was not in session, who was spending this money? When the court was not for 2 years, who was authorizing you? There was no chief judge, so who was authorizing you to be spending this amount of money? I wrote to the NJC, I said, no, that's kind of thing. And then they said, you know what happened? This young man went to court. He lost. He went to court of appeal. And then I left office. What the present chief judge did, they now went back to say the state was not opposing the appeal. And they say, oh, the man has won the court of appeal. And then they now went and swore them in. Now what they now do, every political case, they now assign it to him. Then he will be dishing out others. As far as Wike is on this side, he will dish out others. Now, that's why he gave an injunction for people not to do Congress. It's on appeal. They went back again and filed this order. Meanwhile, people are fighting in his court. He gave order that should be Congress, which we have gone on appeal. People again came back to him to find that they were the ones who are supposed to be. You know what they did? They did not join. Of course, INEC was not. They did not join INEC. They did also join those who were elected for them to be able to defend themselves. They did not join them. They now said PDP. Now, what they did criminally to align themselves with the legal advice of the party at the national level, who now took the processes without telling the party. And then they now went to the state high court and agreed with the plaintiffs. And then enter judges. Look, you just laugh. We have been writing the judge. Give us the judgment. No problem. Let us have the proceedings. No problem. You know the final court. There's an appeal court. There's Supreme Court. No problem. Give us. No problem. You do your own part. Every time, every day, you will see one state high court. Look at another one. A matter the Court of Appeal gave that 3 people cannot sit to make law, appropriation, budget. They appeal to Supreme Court, a state high court. recently.
Good morning, my people. Welcome to Local Matter. Another breaking news on day like this. So, I know say the issue of River State between Fubara and Wike no be issue when Nigeria is supposed to overlook because I no go agree don't enter inside this matter. Now, how the matter be that? So, I know say Supreme Court don't fix a date. May they do the final judgment for this matter. And some APC member they come out they talk say nobody will defeat Wike for court. Now, we think they be talk be that because APC they will manipulate their way. May they make sure say this Supreme Court do the judgment in their own favor. Now, what they say about this matter be that. Wanna watch this video, wanna hear what this man talk for inside this video now. And if today be the first time where they come across this channel, I beg don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that whenever we drop another Ogbonge video, now you could be the first person we go see him.
And of course, Governor Wike fought us very, very badly. And when the APC people say, why are you supporting Wike? I said, what did you do when Wike removed me in the first court as governor of Ebonyi State? You want me to come and fight again? I choose my fight. I say I will not fight the man again. But the truth is that if anybody thinks he can win Governor Wike in Rivers State, that is joke taken too far. And I'm very bold to say that. Just like what he has done here, what the modest achievement we did in Ebonyi, and you say that you can win me in Ebonyi. It's a joke taken so far. Our people want performance. If you have performed as a governor, they will stand.
Legal perspectives will also give us some benefit. Let me speak for a moment with Honorable Samson Osage. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight. Give us an understanding, a very direct layman interpretation of what the Court of Appeal said today. What did the court say or mean by that position or decision today?
Thank you very much for having me on this program and to speak on the legal issues surrounding the Court of Appeal judgment today with respect to the position of the Rivers State House of Assembly, which invariably is the legislative arm of Rivers State government. And I just say that I haven't gone through the excerpts of that judgment. I think it's one judgment that we strengthen the institution of the legislature. Because in this country, the legislature has been trampled upon to weaken its ability to perform its constitutional duty. And speaking strictly on the law surrounding the issues about the governance in Rivers State with particular reference to the crises that have enveloped the Rivers State House of Assembly and of course the budget of Rivers State. Section 96 of the 1999 Constitution is very clear on what should be a quorum of a state legislature. And the quorum of a state legislature, according to the provisions of the Constitution, is 1/3 of its members. In other words, the Rivers State House of Assembly, which I think has about 32 members, can only sit and validly make law. When I say make law, I mean make all laws, including the passing of an appropriation law. Before it can sit and transact legislative business, it should have at least 1/3 of the elected members of that house sitting and present and doing business on that day. And interestingly, Rivers State is not the only place where we have had legislators not having quorum and yet transact business. In fact, what we are seeing in Rivers State is a child's play. In Edo State between 2019 and 2023, the legislative arm of Edo State government transacted legislative business for almost the whole term without a quorum of the House. Now, coming to Rivers State and coming to the judgment of the Court of Appeal, it is only in conformity with the provision of the law that the Court of Appeal has given judgment. It is impossible for 5 or 3 people in a 32-man assembly to transact legislative business, let alone pass an appropriation act for the entire state. In fact, this Rivers State can lead to more amendment to the Constitution. It is going to have consequential implication for the amendment to Section 96 of the Constitution. Because by Constitution amendment alteration, 5th alteration of 2019, that section has been amended to include having at least a 1/3 present on the day of inauguration. And I think constitutional reforms must also include now that for the purpose of the passage budget, any budget passed by membership of the House that is less than 1/3 is unconstitutional. And I think what the Court of Appeal has done is to provide a platform for that constitutional amendment. So, in other words, the court has stated what the law is. It has merely repeated what the Constitution has said and given flesh to its provision and give it teeth for it. It is impossible.
Yeah. So let me jump in quickly. Let me jump in quickly. The position of the law is very simple and clear as to what forms a quorum in the House and what constitutes the legal status of a member of the House of Assembly. Now, the question is the import of the Abegunde versus Ondo State House of Assembly and that Supreme Court position on the defection of the lawmaker is one of the major issues surrounding the defection of the members of the House of Assembly in Rivers State when they moved from the PDP to the APC, and whether or not in moment when they moved or defected, whether they still have or they still are members of the House of Assembly, because there are questions as to can you transfer your vote, the seat, whether or not it belongs to your party. And as the Supreme Court has established in the Abegunde versus Ondo State House of Assembly, that was the point where those who believe that as at the point where they defected, they have automatically lost their seat and their status in and being members of the House of Assembly. And as such, Edison here and 4 others remain the statutory or the only members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Does the law see it in that perspective, Honorable?
Yes, I think Abegunde versus Ondo State House of Assembly remains one of the locus classicus for the law on defection or cross-carpeting in recent times and within the Nigerian political system. But the Rivers State example presents a critical angle to this whole conundrum of cross-carpeting. Let's assuming but not assuming that the 27 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly actually defected and are supposed to have lost their seats. The question is that can the remaining 4 or 5, as the case may be, constitute the Rivers State House of Assembly? The answer is no. So this matter is not dependent on whether the 27 members have lost their seat. By the provision of Section 96, subsection 2, it is said that if there is no quorum, then the Speaker shall adjourn the House. What ought to have happened in the case of Rivers State is 27 members haven't defected and they are considered to have lost their seat. Of course, the court has not said so. What ought to have done in proper situation is to call for a re-election to fill those vacant posts before Rivers State can continue to enjoy the services of the legislature. So it is not for the 24 or 5 to carry on with the business of the legislature. So if they have lost their seat, as people have opined, the appeal against that defection was not upheld by the Court of Appeal, depending on what was put before it. But assuming that they have lost their seat in accordance with the provision of Section 68G, then the implication will not be that the remaining 4 now constitute Rivers State House of Assembly. They cannot validly transact legislative business because of the number they have. So that is not a solution to the conundrum that will be created by their defection.
Now, the other side of it now is what options are available to Governor Fubara? Does he have the opportunity to appeal the appeal court's judgment today?
Well, Oliver Wendell Holmes is one of American realists, said that the law is what the court says it is and nothing more pretentious. Now, the court has stated the position clearly and has said that the budget of 2024 in Rivers State is invalid and unconstitutional. The option left for the governor today is to represent the budget of that state before the legally recognized assembly as it is today. That is the law. I'm not talking about the politics. He has option of appealing the judgment, but it has to obey the order of court. What if the Supreme Court now affirmed this decision? Will he run to heaven? So I think the proper thing for him to do is obey the court, and then you can pursue your appeal. Otherwise, he is running the risk of running a state and expending public expenditures without legislative approval, beyond, for instance, the constitutionally accepted limit of 6 months when the budget would not have been passed.
But Honorable, the question here is that there are other, when you want to appeal this kind of matter, you can ask the court for a relief, or of course, for you to be able to seek redress in court upon a judgment in which you does not favor you. So it could also have ask for a stay, isn't it, and go for an appeal pending the determination at the Supreme Court. That option is available to him, isn't it? Because what if, like you said,
yeah, he has the option to ask for
the Supreme Court now rules in his favor, what happens?
He has the option of asking for a stay of execution. But what is there to stay? Because these are declaratory judgments. Now, if he asks for a stay and it is not granted, where does that leave him? So sometimes I do not think that he has anything to lose if he represents the budget and even the Supreme Court rules in his favor. It means that, he has a validly approved document of the budget of the people of Rivers State. So he has nothing to lose if he represents the budget and follow the law. But he has a lot to lose if he continues to implement a budget that is not validly passed by the state legislature. It becomes a constitutional issue, and it can lead to other unpleasant consequences, given the trajectory of the political situation in Rivers State as we speak today.
But Honorable, you've played politics. You are also a lawyer. So you know that there is a delicate balance in this matter of law and politics. And you know that this was largely a political matter before it went as a dispute before the court. Now, you know just how dangerous or how difficult what you've said is for a sitting governor who feels that, politically speaking, his position is being threatened by his opposition in the state. How does he handle politically what you've been saying so it doesn't look like a weak governor, politically speaking?
Well, you talk about striking a delicate balance between law and politics. Politics rests on law, because politics must be played within the confines of law. If you play politics outside of law, then you are engaging in authoritarianism, in tyranny, and of course arbitrariness. So the law must be the basis upon which politics is played, and I think that is not debatable. So for Governor Fubara, he needs to swallow his pride so as not to be looked at as a weak governor and obey the law, because obeying the law is in his best interest, in his self-enlightened interest in the long run. Because he is in a conundrum right now. He can't continue to govern a state, without legally approved budgets. Because the law does not favor the way the state is being administered without a legally approved budget. So let him go, swallow his pride, negotiate with the legislators, and then let them resume legislative duties. And then he has all it takes. He's the governor of the state to call his people and say, look, this quarrel is not has nothing to do with Rivers people. We are elected to govern Rivers people. Let bygone be bygone. Let's start on a new slate. And they continue. They are legislators. They are citizens of Rivers State. So the only way for his survival is for him to obey the law and then begin to get along with the legislator, regardless of the waters that have gone under the bridge. Because if he doesn't do that, then these validly recognized legislators under the law will go ahead and impeach him for running a state without a validly approved and enacted budget of the state. And then the law will not be in his favor in that instance.
So, but also, What's the implication of all of the activities of the 5 members of the House of Assembly, everything they have done in the eye of the law? Are they also voided?
The court made it clear. Yes, the court made it clear. And of course, the Constitution has said so. If you do not form a quorum of a legislative business, you cannot transact any business. Any business they have transacted in the name of Rivers State House of Assembly is null and void and unconstitutional and have no legal effect whatsoever. That is the position of the law, and it's clear.
Honorable, before I allow you go, this is a very, very tricky one. Yes, rarely do we see governors being impeached, but how do you then run a state when you know that you are in a very difficult political, treading around a political landmine, and you are running a state with majority opposition lawmakers? How do you cope? How do you want to run a state in that manner? Well, I mean, politically speaking, it looks like a suicide, isn't it?
As we speak today, this is political now. Rivers State has an array of statesmen who have been governors, deputy governors, ministers, ambassadors. I do not think the elders of Rivers State should sit back and allow this drift to continue. And I believe that as governor, he has a responsibility to mobilize the leaders and elders of Rivers State to be able to get his government underway and run smoothly. And I also believe that his opponents, or those with whom he is having his loggerheads, are also from Rivers State who have respect for the elders of Rivers State. I remember my friend Tony advocated and named some persons who could solve the problem of Rivers State. So I believe that those routes are still very much available. The road to peace can be very thorny, but it is better achieved by passing it than pretending and being on a high horse, because of ego. So I believe that there are people in Rivers State capable of solving Rivers' problem. And this has nothing to do with Mr. President now, because as a Democrat, there's a limit to which he can even interfere, except to the extent that life and property should be secured in state. So we know that the crisis is precipitated by political differences, between him and his predecessor.
All right.
But the Rivers elders can settle this matter by bringing them to the negotiating table, including these members of the State Assembly, so that we can have a smooth governance in Rivers State. After all, power is transient. They will all leave their seats one way or the other, and at some point. So why should they continue to overheat the local polity in Rivers State?
Honorable Dr. Samson Osagie, thank you so much for talking to us tonight. A very senior lawyer and a former minority leader of the House of Representatives, a mixture of experience.
Minority whip, not minority leader.
Minority whip, apologies. A mixture of experience, parliamentary experience, and legal knowledge. Thank you so much for giving us a mixture of all.
Thank you, Sheon, for having me.
Thank you so much indeed. So there is a big one here, everyone, because at what point can you say you are validly defected from a political party? Is that by your mere verbal declaration, or how? How do you determine crisis? The law and precedents in law has also established that what makes a political crisis in a political party, not just one mushroom places or in the world or whatever, at the national level. How can they justify that? The Abegunde, Ifeanyi Abegunde versus Ondo State House of Assembly is a precedent in law on that matter of cross-carpeting and defection. We see how that pans out. But for today, the appeal court judgment stand. Let me bring in Mr. Tonyeko, who, is also in the mix of all of these things. Mr. Tonyeko, thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight. Now, I know you've been hearing and listening to what Dr. Samson Osagie has said, but those who defected, they defected to your party. So invariably, your party is receiving the benefit of the judgment of today, because those members, the Martins Amewule, are members of the APC because they said they defected to the APC. Let me get your reaction to the appeal court judgment of today.
Well, first of all, Sheon, thank you very much for having me. And then secondly, I see that Samson is still on fire. and he has given a good basis for today's discussion. Now, Rivers State is in a very precarious situation right now. The judgment of the appeal court has taken everything almost back to status quo. And now we have an issue where you have an assembly, a House of Assembly, that is contrary to the governor. You ask a question as to whether this is attainable. The governor finds himself in a very precarious political situation. Of course, by presenting the budget back to that assembly, what he's then saying is that that assembly is recognized as the legal assembly. And once that happens, he has to now navigate an impeachment or a possible impeachment issue. Things no balance, my brother. So what is happening right now is a very delicate situation. And unless there is a conversation around peace, it can't end well.
No, but okay, so my first question to you, that's your assessment. First question is in the ilk of what do you see as what is as panned out to be in the favor of your party? Because the Martins Amewule say they are members of the APC, your political party. From that point of view, how do you see it?
And that's a fact. So you can't take away the fact. They left PDP, they moved to our party APC. They had been welcomed by APC. So that's a fact. There's nothing that can be done about that. What you see about political brinkmanship is that you want to move people from one party into your party. That's always the case. Who can you go over? Who can you bring in? Who can you carry over? So that has been done. What you now find is that we have a state where the governor is PDP, the House of Assembly, based on the court case, is APC. And remember that you have a local government, a whole local government structure that is APP. So you have three different parties running the state. Totally untenable.
Well, there are those who will say, yes, the local government chairmen are largely APP, but they are APP in bracket Fubara. And the APC majority House of Assembly in bracket pro Wike. It's a very delicate mix that your party find yourself. So the question is, where is Tonya Cole? Where is Rotimi Amechi? Where is Tony Okocha? But at the end of the day, in all of these political brinkmanship, brigandage that we saw in the post-LG election and all of these charade, because as far as I'm concerned, I see everything as all joke to the extent that it's impacting on the lives and the livelihood of the Rivers people. All of this politicking means Absolutely. Nothing. Because if it doesn't benefit the people of the state, it means nothing. From your own point of view,
Absolutely.
How do you balance all of these jokes and make the people's lives be better? Because the people of Rivers State's lives are in the mix of this.
So, unfortunately, and I use this word very carefully, unfortunately, the people of Rivers State, as it stands right now, do not matter in the equation that is being played out. Because if the interests of Rivers people were on the table, we will not even be where we are today. This entire fight is political, and it has to do with a very small political family. They are not interested in what the issue is in the people of Rivers State. Because as we speak today, there's no development. As we speak today, the political battle is affecting the poor man on the street. There's no progress. So what we need to do is that we have to sit down thinking about the people of Rivers State and come to an agreement that, you know what, all of this must end. And I like what Samson said. It cannot be ended without the clear intervention of elders, political actors, stakeholders, coming together to say that enough is enough. Rivers elders have been speaking, but they're speaking on the outside. The governor, in his position now, must reach out and call everybody onto the table, because that's what he can do on that end. He must call and say that, you know what, how can we find a solution on this? There's no player here that is not important. Whether you look at it from the SIM factor, you look at it from the Wike factor, you look at it from the Amechi factor, look at it from the Odili factor, but even if you look at it from the president's factor, there's nobody who is small in this. If you do not call everybody to the table and say, let us find a solution, it's not good. This is,
Mr. Cole, apologies. Where I come from, they say when you want to settle a dispute, you call in the middle or at the center someone whom the two parties respect. In this sense, who does Wike respect? Who does Sim Fubara respect? Such that that kind of person can sit in the person in the middle.
There's only one person today that can play that role first and foremost. And that person has to be very interested in the peace and prosperity of Rivers State. And that is the president. Wike works for the president. And so he must listen to the president.
But the president has intervened once, Mr. Cole. The president has intervened once, and that intervention seemed to have amounted to little. And now they're back, in fact, hotter and more intense in this dispute more than before the president intervened. And the response that we got from the president is that let the court settle all this matter. But can this court settle this matter before things really get out of hand?
I doubt it. Now, what you're going to see is that we're going to see that the courts are going to come into this battle. But the courts are not geared towards bringing political solutions to issues like this. You can be sure that the local government elections that just happened is now going to be dragged in court. What you've already discussed with Samson, so there is a court dynamic, a judicial dynamics that is going to be happening. Let us leave the judiciary out of this, because they are not going to be able to bring a political solution to this. The outcome of what happens on the judiciary may not bring the solution that we see. I've lost it.
All right, just for a moment, let's go on a break. When we come back, we can continue our conversation with Mr. Tonyako, who is the governorship candidate of APC in Rivers State in 2023 election. We'll be right back at the Thank you so much, everyone. Mr. Tonyako, who's the governorship candidate of the APC in the 2023 governorship election in the state. Thanks so much indeed for your time tonight. There are those who would say one too many is this political feud in the state. And for those who follow Rivers politics will know that even in the days of Rotimi Amechi, he spent huge amount of years fighting political wars and came in some weekend now, Sim Fubara. What exactly is wrong? Because I know they see a whole lot of these gentlemen, as soon as they get into power, a lot of things then begin to happen. There are those who say that Tonyako is also a gentleman, but they say when you get to the government house in Rivers State, there are those wars that you cannot run away from fighting.
The spirit of fight will enter.
But you feel like you are in an advantage, isn't it? Because your opponent defeated you in this election and now is facing all of this trouble.
You know, at the end of the day, I've always said this, Sean, that we have to break this circle, okay? And it's a circle that you're seeing. And unless and until you have a legitimate break from that circle.
Thanks for watching this video. How did you see this political analysis, and whom una think say he will win this matter at the end of the day?